Welcome, Rise and Thrivers, to the show today. We have a dynamic force in the world of intentional living and impactful communication. Trained at the prestigious London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, Dale's career took an exciting turn when she landed a role in Mission Impossible. Yet for her, this was more than just a role. It was a profound lesson in turning fear into confidence and transforming challenges into stellar performances. Her journey didn't stop there, though. Dale experienced a powerful epiphany that life itself is an act, often played out unconsciously. This revelation reshaped her career, inspiring her to help others take control of their lives with the same intentionality she brought to her roles. For over a decade, she's been equipping people from all walks of life with the tools to live deliberately, using body, mind, and voice techniques to navigate any situation with purpose and poise. Her playwright approach empowers people to elevate their profiles, master communications, and seize opportunities.
I've got this thing where you go taller and calmer. You just think taller and calmer.
Love that, Dale. Taller and calmer.
Yeah, and you take a breath and speak the truth.
Yep. Right. So if any of our listeners are out there and when those times when you're feeling a bit stressed or overwhelmed or whatnot, you can easily stop and pull yourself up and say, taller and calmer, take a breath and speak the truth.
Yeah.
Dale, I love that.
Actually, I did use
That's going to be a short.
I love it. I did use it once because I was in this tricky situation. It was very tricky. So what happened, I don't give too much information away because people will know who it is, but not that I really care. I was at this meeting for Australian Transformation and Turnaround Association, that group. Now, I've never done a transformation. I've never done a turnaround. These people were like way above me in all this stuff. I was way out of my league, punching way above my weight, which I like to do anyway. But I was in my zone because I was leading a conversation about the power of the spoken word. So all good. I'm in my lane, all good. So start off the conversation. It's going so well. It's great. And then comes the questions. Well, one of the charming gentlemen who happened to be on the call says to me, yeah, look, that's all old hat now because really everything's just run by the tech people and so you don't even have to speak. And I was like, oh, so you're not just stabbing me but my whole profession. Thanks. That's so great. So I went,
very uplifting, but how did you deal with that?
Well, I went taller and calmer. I took a breath and I said, look, tech's not my thing. I don't really know about that. But I do know that one of my clients got over 3 million views for her TED Talk and got $1.3 trillion moved out of tobacco investment.
That's a slam dunk right there, Dale.
You feel like inside you're going, game over.
But a great example of
taller and calmer,
taller and calmer, and then speak the truth.
Yeah, because then you can be respectful but honest with what's actually going on, because it means that you can just respond the way you want to, because otherwise the tendency is to attack or defend, and both are bad. You don't want to be attacking them.
Well, they're not going to get you. Yep.
They win. And it is a battle.
Yeah.
They've created a battle, and they win. So if you attack or defend, you're better off to actually say nothing, because that's not good. But if you go taller and calmer, take a breath and speak the truth, then you're responding.
Yeah. So this is a conversation for greatness. And what we say on the show is that sometimes you are having a conversation for greatness with someone else and sometimes with yourself. And often we probably talk more to ourselves than we do to other people. So that's another thing about what I love about what you're saying. You have a conversation with yourself and you remind yourself and bring that awareness back, taller and calmer, and speak the truth. And then off you go. So you have that conversation for greatness within yourself so you can have a conversation for greatness with others.
Beautiful.
I love it, Dale.
Beautiful. Yeah, because there's the battle. The battle is one of the battles that we're fighting always is in between our ears. And I think sometimes we look, there's times when we can use your beautiful meditation tapes for what we put in. There's times when we can focus ourselves on wins and successes and that we can actually focus on positive thinking. But there's other times where just that pushing positive thinking isn't going to work. And when that happens, then we have to get our brain to be like an engine, the engine room, and go, okay, take action. Take action, lift your chest, take action, say something, have an intention in what you're going to say, and get your brain to give your brain a goal to achieve. So I think that's really, in a sense, I think why a lot of the techniques that I use work is really that cognitive behavioral therapy, that you do things and then you do things first and then you act first, and then that changes who you are and how you see yourself. Like that's a bit of a chicken or the egg thing. Like, you are creating your self-image in your own mind, in your imagination, but you're creating who you are with how you act.
Yeah, and what I've also heard is don't wait to be motivated. Do the thing and then you'll get the motivation. So if you
Yes.
wait around waiting to be ready or to be motivated, you're not going to be as successful as if you go, like you're just talking about, act. And it's Shakespeare would say, action is eloquence, something like that, I think he says. And the motivation comes, or I think even Bob Proctor says, do the thing and you'll get more energy to do the thing.
Well, that's right. I mean, I would say with public speaking, though, I'm very much get the right training, though, because people are scared of public speaking for a very good reason. Is because your reputation goes up and down when you speak, goes up or down.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about it that way.
So don't just jump in. Oh yes, I'll do a keynote at the the end of the year retreat in front of all my colleagues and my boss. Unless you're going to take time and prepare properly and get the right techniques, then do it 100%. But don't jump into certain things that you're literally not prepared for.
Yeah, well, taking the action in that context could be to get the techniques.
Yes.
So, when we're talking about taking action, it's about what do you need to do to progress your goals. Yeah, so it's a bit like you don't just get in a car and don't have any lessons or know how it operates, right? So I can imagine I know it's like that with speaking as well.
Yep.
You can get practice in certain areas in a safe space, and or you can go to someone like yourself and do an amazing course called Speaking with Impact. And by the end of that, you are going to have techniques, have practice techniques, and have that inner and outer talk to be able to speak with impact. I guess that's why you called the course that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can build up to it. So you practice techniques in a meeting. Then you set up vehicles. So you even get together a few people and say, look, I just want to present my ideas to you. You've got 5 minutes, and then build it up as well. I think sometimes with public speaking too is that people don't see that everything, basically you talk to more than one person, it's public speaking. And so there's lots of vehicles that you have that you can practice it, but also you can create vehicles for yourself as well. So if you believe that you'll be more visible and that your success will be meteoric from speaking out, then it'll be worth it. And then you just go on that mission. And then, because it interests me with Sir Richard Branson, who I think, I would never coach someone to speak like he does in that way, but it's perfect because it's him. And Elon Musk as well. I mean, in a way, I would coach them to be themselves. I mean, I probably work on their voices and their body language a bit, but they're themselves. They're brilliant because they're themselves. And also, I think communication has changed. I think that people aren't as interested in the Obama-esque, doing the eye contact, and yes, we can, and all that stuff. I think people aren't really interested in the slick thing. They're interested in personality. And so they don't trust all the slick stuff. I think they really just trust you being yourself, and which doesn't mean that you don't develop your voice and everything, but the most important thing is that you are yourself.
Yeah, you can really see that, especially when you're talking about Elon. Maybe because, I don't know if it's because he's got so much money it doesn't matter, because he might have been like that the whole time. I'm not quite sure, but he definitely comes across as, I'm just being me. This is what I feel, and I'm going to say it, and away he goes.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I love it.
Whether it's controversial or not, I remember he was at an interview and the host was talking to him about losing advertisers because of his persistence with making sure that X was a platform of free speech. And he said, "Well, if we lose advertisers, we'll lose advertisers. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop that mission or that principle that I hold dear for the platform. That's just how it's going to be." So that conviction as well really, really comes through when he speaks.
That's so interesting you should say that, because I think that ties into greatness. To be great, there has to be some things where you go, I don't care. If people don't like me or don't like what I do, I don't care. You have to be like that. You can't be great and be worried about what everyone thinks.
Well, it is interesting too that you say that, because when you speak, especially in public, and we're talking a lot about that because of the amazing course that you have, you do put yourself out there and you can get criticism or negative feedback, because not everyone is going to like you as much as we would like that to be the case. Not everyone's going to dig you. Even Anthony Robbins says, I'm not for everyone. So, someone at that level knows intrinsically that there's going to be a certain percentage of people that just don't dig him, maybe don't even like him. So, I'm hearing one of your techniques to deal with that is not to.
Not to care.
Well, I was going to no, but I was going to say here, it's not to care, but it's also what it reminds me of is control what you can control. If you can't control necessarily what people think about you, you can only control how you react, behave, and those conversations you have with yourself and with others. So the reason I was a bit hesitant to say you don't care,
Yeah,
because
it does,
it
yeah.
can have a negative connotation, and I know that's not what it is.
It's not true that you don't care. You care deeply, but you know that to be true to yourself and to be true to the people that follow you, you're not going to be liked by everyone. And I think the beauty, most of the time, is that most of the people who don't like you, they just don't engage with you. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like on LinkedIn. I'm sure some people go, "Oh, not her again." She's never says anything interesting, but they're not going to connect with me. So I never know. The ones, all I connect with is the ones who go, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You inspire me every day. Every time you put stuff up, I listen to it. It's great." Or I was an MC once. And an MC, as you know, is not really a prominent position. Like, you've got the keynote speaker. And I was just the MC once. I'd used all my techniques, used the welcome, used this talking to one person, and this high level politician came up to me at the end and said, "Oh, that was so great." And I thought, really? I was just the MC though. Like, I wasn't even the main person. So you magnetize. I think it's a Seth Godin thing where he goes, you magnetize the people that you want to. You want to be a magnet. You want to magnetize the ones who are going to be part on your team, and you want to repel the ones who aren't going to ever like you.
Oh, right. I like that in terms of a magnet. But I can understand though with your techniques, and I know you've got confidence in them, and that exudes this energy and this presence. So it's no surprise to me at all that someone would come up to you and say, "Oh, that was just wonderful." They might not even realize why they think that. They just think that because there's so much things going on a conscious and a subconscious level. I also want to encourage listeners to follow you on LinkedIn, because you do put out these videos that are really impactful. And it's about a lot of the things we're talking about today: how you carry yourself, things that you can do for better performance, etc., etc. And have I categorized that correctly, Dale,
Yes,
about
yes.
what those videos are on LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah. And my focus a lot is around leadership, because I think that leadership is very difficult. And it's much more difficult these days than before, because you've got different age groups, different nationalities, different cultures, different headspaces. Like, it's a lot. It's really like herding cats, and it's
Yeah.
really challenging. And then you've got people staying at home and people coming to work, so you've got geographical, or sometimes people around the world. So there's a lot of pressure on leaders at the moment, and I think that they're often not really equipped to be able to communicate. And then the company gives them these boring, vague mission visions that just don't mean anything to
No.
anyone. And so
Yeah.
these poor leaders are kind of trapped, really, I think, in just dealing. And so they end up just kind of managing and trying to get stuff done and trying to look after, trying all these things. Whereas I think that if they have more support about how
Yeah.
to face the battles in their own heads, their own mental attitudes, the attitudes of their people, the people more equipped to be able to communicate with each other. So the battle with that, the battle to be like the best boss, that you're actually the employer of choice, that you attract the top talent, and the battle of conflict. There's lots of conflict around, and there's a lot of processes around the conflict, which makes it all worse a lot, I think. But then it becomes like a big battle, whereas it's something that maybe could be sorted, especially early on, could be sorted out. So I think that if you're communicating in a way that, if you can just win the conflict battle and get everyone on the same side, then other things just fall into place. So I think these are the type of winning situations that leaders can have, that will flow over onto winning more clients and business growth. I think that sometimes there's so
Yeah.
much focus on the customer, the client. Well, yeah, okay, but if you get your team really happening and with a good headspace and attracting the top talent and dealing with conflict and creating these elite teams, then the customers will come.
And I can really hear how your techniques and training help and equip people to be able to win the battle, win those battles. And another saying of yours, or something I read about yours, is human behavior drives economics. And you kind of touched on it there, in that yes, the customer is important, and as we've heard before on the show, nothing happens without a sale. But uh, also, I really liked how what you just said wasn't only focusing on the customer, was focusing on how you as a leader, and I put it to our previous guest, Daniel Tolson, who's on the previous episode after this. He said everyone wants to become a better leader. And I said, really, Daniel, do you think everyone wants to? And he goes, well, no one's ever come to me and said, I want to be a worse leader. So that was
Yeah.
really good context for me, because thinking that, not everyone wants to lead people, but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you can't be a leader in whatever you're doing, in your life, whether it's professional or personal or whatnot. But I did like how you touched there on that human behavior driving economics in that business context.
Yeah, well, everything we do, everything we say, everything we do is what creates the outcomes. And so that always translates into economics. And yeah, with the leadership piece, it just seems there's so little support and so many challenges. But everyone wants to be a good leader. I mean, you speak to people who've been in the corporate world for a long time, and sort of ask about their greatest successes, and it'll be someone coming up to them years later and going, "You're the best boss I ever had." They talk about that. They don't go, "Oh yes, well, in 1982, our bank, brought in got, 10% growth or something like that." They don't talk about some sort of statistics. They talk about how they've influenced someone's life and everyone wants to be liked and everyone wants to be seen as the best leader anyone's ever had.
And you are the leader in your own life.
Yes.
So that's the thing that when we talk about leadership, I just wanted to make it clear to myself and everyone listening there that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're leading a lot of people, but you are the leader in your own life. And sometimes that takes something, that takes learning, that takes awareness, that takes a curious mindset, having great conversations with yourself, both inside and out. And you've been leading your life in such a brilliant way from the early days of getting into the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. I bet you that wasn't just a walk in the park. Landing those roles in Hollywood as well. You've got to be a leader and put yourself out there and do all those things and have confidence in your technique and keep learning those new techniques and keep honing those skills on that never-ending journey of learning. And it's so powerful that now, well, and for years now, that you've been imparting all those things that you've learned to help others, to empower them with their leadership and communication skills. And it's making such a difference in the world. You talked about that, the lady and the results that she created early in the show. So it's just so wonderful to have you on the show. And I wanted to ask you, that was all just a pump up and to lead to the next part, and also give a bit of context to what you've been doing before we got here. But is there something top of mind now that or as well, you've shared so much with us, where you're thinking, I really wish people would know this or understand this because it would really make their lives better? Now, I know you've given us hundreds already, but is there anything now, as I ask you that question, that springs to mind?
It's always worked for me that see it, believe it. What is it? See it. I think it's see it, do it, believe it. I think it is. Some people say see it, believe it, conceive it, or do it. But I think see it, do it, believe it. Like when I was 6, I saw Kathleen Gorham dance in Alice in Wonderland. I think I said that on the last episode, and that I saw her as a dancer, and then I became a dancer. And then with acting, I saw something, the idea of acting, and I followed it. So I have like a vision, an idea, and then I followed. So see it, but I think, but you don't have to believe it before you start doing it. So you see it, do it, believe it. And that's where the acting, as soon as you've had the idea, you act on that. And then you believe it. Because otherwise there's too many things that come in the way otherwise. Like if I thought, acting, only 5% of actors are working at one time. Who would choose that? See, if I'd thought about it, I wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? And then, let's be a coach. Yeah, gee, that's a fail-proof plan. Not. I think see it, do it, believe it is take action as soon as you get that vision of what, just a small speck of an idea. Also, the woman who got the 3 million views for her TED talk and the 1.3 trillion out of tobacco investment, when she was school, there was a girl that was a bit older than her who became an oncologist or became a doctor, I think, and she thought, oh, I can do that. So these things happen to us all the time, but a lot of people discard them and go, oh, yeah, but that'd be too hard, or, oh, but I wouldn't be able to, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. Really, if you have the idea, then jump after it, and then you'll find out if that's for you. But there's so many things that you could do if you have a crack.
I really like how you put that. And so you see something that inspires you, and then you do something, and then the belief will come the more that you do it, or each little step along the way. That is such great advice, because you could see Tony Robbins up there speaking, go, I'll never be that. But that's not the point. If you're
Yeah,
inspired and go, oh, one day I wouldn't mind being like that, well, then you can see it and go, okay, yeah, that's it. And then start doing those little things or those things to get you on the journey and then believe it as you do it.
yes.
Dale, what a great piece of advice. And we're only here for a short amount of time. In the scheme of the universe, we're not even a speck of dust or a tick of the clock. So you may as well. Why not?
Yeah,
You got nothing to lose. You got nothing
exactly.
to lose. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how we stop ourselves?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's fascinating. Like human behavior is so fascinating. And well, otherwise,
Mm.
well, you and I'd be bored. It's so
It is.
interesting.
It is so interesting, and it's lucky we're not perfect because that's where the opportunities lie as well. If we were perfection with everything we did and we thought, oh, we saw something, and I wouldn't mind being a neurosurgeon, and then you just were a neurosurgeon. There's nothing really, interesting in that. It's robotic where
I don't know. That sounds like
we get to.
acting. You can just pretend you're anything. Yeah, I was a
Well,
nurse, never practiced nursing. I played a cop, never a policewoman. Played an assassin. And actually, I didn't go to Hollywood. It was a Mission Impossible series that was done here. I don't want to have false advertising, but yeah, an assassin. And I definitely didn't kill people. So I didn't practice being an assassin by killing people.
wasn't method acting.
No, I did not use method acting for that. When I was the Greenpeace warrior, I could have used method acting for that. Actually, I sort of did a little bit. We went and visited the people who we were representing, but yeah, no method acting for playing an assassin.
Well, that's fun and that's play, though, isn't it? And that's another great reason to be alive.
Yes.
Now, your company's Playwright,
Yes.
and it makes a lot of sense that with everything that you've spoken about today, all the acting techniques that you have, that you help other people with human behavior and how they carry themselves, and to do it right and to do it win, and to win, I
Yes.
should say.
Yes. Yes.
And so that sounds like that's why you call the company that. Are there any other reasons why you call the company that, or do you want to make it a bit more succinct than what I just said?
No, that's right. Look, Playwright is about that. We're always acting, but mostly we act unconsciously, reacting to our environment or to our past experiences or limiting beliefs, just sort of going on in this unconscious way. But playing right is about acting intentionally, about choosing who we want to become, what we want to be doing, where we want to be going, even who's going with us. And so, therefore, we carve a path for ourselves. If we use being a speaker or doing videos strategically, how we position ourselves in companies, so that for that promotion, so that other people see us the way we see us, and we can clearly carve that path. One of my clients, exactly that. He just wasn't being seen for where he wanted to be going. And so we used language and behaviour to get him on the track of where he wanted to be, which he now is, which is fantastic. So, yeah, it's intentional behaviour.
So it sounds to me like instead of bobbing around in the ocean, being at the whim of the currents and the wind, you're actually intentionally going where you want to go, or, yeah, you're intentionally going where you want to go so you can think the right thoughts, make the right decisions, and have the right techniques and training to be able to go there.
Beautifully said. Perfect.
Nice. Well, Rise and Thrivers, there'll be some links in the show notes, but you don't need links to be able to just search for Dale Stevens. Just Google Dale Stevens. Please follow her on LinkedIn because she does these amazing videos that are going to help you. And Speaking with Impact, Dale runs several of those courses a year. I highly recommend, if you want to become a better speaker or a better person and have more confidence, charisma, and clarity, to jump on a Speaking with Impact course with Dale. Dale, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Is there any final words you like to impart to our Rise and Thrivers before we go?
Definitely. I just want to say thank you, John. Like, you are a shining light. Your energy is just boundless, and your love for people is just obvious. And anyone who's in your orbit is actually incredibly lucky. So thank you.
Dale, thank you. Oh, this is a mutual appreciation society, which I love. That's really filling my cup. And I was gonna swear. I was gonna say something that I won't think I'll leave in, but I heard this expression once and I use it sometimes. I might be a tall bastard, but I'm not bulletproof. So to have feedback like that from someone like yourself makes a massive difference to my day, and thank you as well. Rise and Thrivers, what an amazing episode we've got. We've got heaps coming up. We've started season 3 really strong, first with Dale Tolson. Now, first...
Everyone's Dale now.
Dale, yeah, that's right.
There's Dale Tolson and then Dale Smith. But Dale...
First with Daniel Tolson, second with Dale Stevens. We've got more incredible guests. Season 3 is shaping up to be the best season ever. Thanks for listening. Stay awesome, and we'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now, Dale.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Rise and Thrive, Conversations for Greatness with John Merkus. Remember, you are loved, you are worthy, and you do matter. Embrace the journey of personal growth and motivation. Let's go out there and do something great. Follow or subscribe for more insights and inspiration every Tuesday. Until next time, stay awesome.